What's up, guys? My name is James Lorenzo, and it's time for me to wash my dishes. You guys ever ride in a car with your mom, or all the parents out there ride in a car with your kid, and you listen to the music that you usually listen to, but then there's a moment, whether it's your mom or your 6-year-old kid, where he asks you, what does back that ass up mean? And in that moment, and in those moments, you realize how profane your favorite song is. Now, last night, my mom didn't come to visit, and I wasn't riding in the car with my son, but I was sitting next to my girl, and editing some videos. And as I'm editing the videos, I decided to listen to a little music. And the song I decided to listen to was Dirty by Tank. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love 90s R&B. I'm a big fan of the New Jack Swing, that Jodeci music, that Keith Sweat, that New Edition, especially Jodeci. I'm a big fan of Jodeci, so much so that when I was young, I was in elementary school, I'm not sure how young, but my mom, she's a fairly young mom. She's not that much older than me, and she used to have all the new hits. We used to be in Sam Goody every week, and she had a Jodeci album. Not sure which album, but whatever album had Fiending and whatever the other Jodeci hits that I love today. And being the little freak that I was, I would take my mom's disc and CDs and tapes or whatever she had, and I would confiscate them, and I would fall asleep listening to it. I'm not sure if she ever knew or if she ever cared, because just like every generation, parents look back and be like, why the fuck did I let my kid do that? Anyway, so I grew up, that's the kind of music I loved. Before he was banned, I loved He Who Shall Not Be Named, and I loved 12 Play. I loved all those albums, even to this day. You give me a good Chris Brown song, love some Genuine, Daniel Caesar and Black. Anyway, so I'm a fan of Tank. And for some reason, I had that song stuck in my head, so I put it on. And I didn't know. So I'm listening to the song, and as I'm listening to the song, I've heard the song dozens of times before. But like I said, you never realize the true content of a song until you listen to it with someone. So my girl, she's working. She loves working with, the TV on, the music on, so I don't see any problem with it. So I should have known when the first verse came on, because, at that moment, that's when I started re-listening to the song. And so the first verse is about him eating a girl out, and at some point in the verse, he says, kiss me, I know it tastes like you. It tastes like her juices. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I heard that, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's the type of mood. I like that a whole lot. So it gets to the second verse, and I hear him say, one hand, no hands, two hands, something like that, you get to the job. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, yeah, that's what I'm, yeah. So he says that, and I didn't pay attention to what he said after because I was so enamored by what he just said. And so I rewinded it. I started back from the top. So it goes back to, he eating her out, and then they kiss, and he tastes her and on his lips. And so, so then he goes, no hands, two hands, you get to the job. And then he says, kiss me. I know it tastes like me. Now, I don't know if you've ever, cut your hand, but, the first thing people usually do is they put their finger in their mouth. So you taste it yourself. Whether it was yesterday or, when you were 8 years old, 10 years old, or yesterday, you nasty people, you ate a booger. So at some point we've tasted our bodily fluids. At no point in my life have I ever said, yeah, I want to taste myself down there. I've had sex before. I have 2 kids, so I've had sex before. And I've ejaculated, and it's ended up on my hand before. And at no point have I said, man, let me wipe this off of my mouth. I've never, ever. Now, if my girl, or before my girl, a young lady wanted to taste my juices, then she can have as much as she wants. But at no point, at some point, but definitely not immediately after, am I saying, kiss me. Bruh, I do not want to taste that. I don't know what it tastes like. I don't care what it tastes like. If you want to spit it out, that's fine. If you want to swallow it, that turns me on a little bit. But that's fine too. But at no point have I ever said, let me get some. And he continued the verse, said, I'm the nastiest nigga that you ever seen. That is some nasty shit. And I know it's a double standard. I get it, but I don't give a damn. That is pretty, not going to say it's the G word, but that's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild. But, Tank was in the news a few weeks ago. If anybody follows, black media, he was making his rounds and he was trying to defend himself because he had made a comment in terms of how many dicks it takes for you to be considered gay. How many dicks you got to suck before you consider gay. Now, he said 2. I'm not sure how many dicks he sucked, but he's at least tasted 1. For those who don't know, I'm a huge Washington sports fan. Grew up in Southeast DC, so that means I'm a part of the DMV, but I am the D in DMV. Went to Sousa, went to Plummer Elementary, ended up going to Dunbar, but I grew up in Southeast DC. Now, as a result, I'm a DC sports fan. Love all the teams. Nationals, Capitals, Wizards, and the football team. Don't like saying the name. Feel really uncomfortable saying the name. Really wish they changed it. Anyway, so I've been around for all the DC heartbreaks. From most recent ones, RG3, the tragedy that was him, John Wall messing up his Achilles, losing in Game 7 in the playoffs to the Celtics, even Gilbert Arenas, and I've been through old Deion Sanders, Bruce Smith, Albert Hainsworth, Dana Stubblefield, Michael Jordan coming through and not being Michael Jordan. I've been through all of it. I've seen, Sean Taylor, nothing of his, rest in peace. But when he got murdered, and the way that changed the football franchise. As you can see, it's a lot of heartbreak about one particular franchise. Anyway, I didn't become a Nationals fan until later on because the Nationals didn't come until later on in my life. So before that, I was an Orioles fan. But as soon as the Nationals came along, I jumped on board. So you can only imagine my elation when they won the championship. Now, with this new story coming out, or not this new story, but the punishments coming down for the Houston Astros, who got caught cheating. They were stealing signs, and it led to them allegedly That's how they won their World Series a couple years back, and that was part of their process. They were sign stealing. I've seen a lot of heartbreak. One heartbreak in particular sticks out of my mind a lot. I remember we were coming back from, I believe, North Carolina. I'm not sure why it was North Carolina. It might have been Richmond or something. But I remember I was in the car with my mom, and it had to be my stepdad because we were listening to the game. Now, as we were listening to the game, I believe they were playing the Giants on one of those Sunday night older ESPN games when they used to have the Sunday night games. And I remember Gus Frerotte, I think the quarterback for the Giants, like Jeff Hostetler or something. That's all of that is like embedded in my brain at this point. So I think Gus Frerotte like scores on like a quarterback sneak or a quarterback keep or something to the point that he was celebrating the touchdown. Now, as his celebration, he decided to headbutt the wall. Now, I remember the announcer calling it was like, Gus Frerotte scores a touchdown. And he runs straight to the wall. And he hurt his neck. And he was out for the rest of the game. I think he was out for a few weeks. And we ended up losing that game. That sums up most of my life with DC sports franchises and in general. So when the Nationals were the best team in the MLB a few years ago, I was like, man, this is our year. And we got bounced the first round. I remember when it happened to the Capitals, they got bounced. But the Nationals always for the past, I'll say for the latter half of the last decade, they were normally favorites. They came into the season as favorites. I think even last year, even though they had a mediocre record, they came in as favorites. Now, my pessimism about DC sports, it's reason. So to find out, hindsight, that the Nationals might have overcome cheating, man, that's amazing. That's a good feeling. It makes me realize that we don't always have to be Gus Frerotte. Sometimes you can be the Giants. Social media. You know, we all got it. I'm going to post this on YouTube and maybe on Instagram when I'm finished. But have you ever thought about the genesis of your social media experience? For me, it was Black Planet. Me, my best friend at the time, and my little brother, we decided to start a Black Planet page. I'm not sure if it was an age restriction or it was age restricted content, but I knew we were on there and we probably shouldn't have been on there. And if we were on there lying. We were on there saying, that we're older than we were, that we're about what we're not really about. So we were catfishing. We were catfishing teenagers trying to catch grown women. Now, fast forward through MySpace, through Facebook, through Snapchat, now to Twitter and Instagram. My base of social media was getting ass. It wasn't necessarily catfishing, but we were putting up a facade that we wanted people to recognize the best in us. We wanted people to recognize this John Henry version of us, this larger-than-life version of us, whether it was us talking about how big our dicks was or that we're sexy and that I remember on Black Planet, I didn't know how to post pictures or I didn't have the machinery or the printer to do so. So I was describing myself as like, I look like Tyrese. Now, I say that to say, man, is you got to think about the basis of why you do things, especially social media. So I decided to take a step back and reevaluate how I use social media. So I deleted Instagram off my phone for the 126,000th time. I deleted off my phone and I made a pact with myself, and I said that I will only get on to check messages because I do get job offers. I found out who my biological father was on Instagram. So it does have its benefits, but for everyone it's not beneficial. Just like any type of drug or alcohol or anything, sometimes people can't handle it, and that's okay. And for me myself, I realized that I can't really handle it. But I go on sporadically, and I went on today to check my messages and just see what's up. And so I go on there, and I didn't really mean to open it, but I opened it, and there was a message from one of my buddies. And he usually sends me like just silly stuff. Some stuff I open, some stuff I respond to. But I opened the message, and it was a video of it was a split screen. It was like Yung Joc and a video of somebody. So I read the caption, and basically the caption was saying to the point of, this is Yung Joc as a Uber driver, or this is allegedly Yung Joc as an Uber driver, and the person in the back is videotaping this guy who's wearing a hoodie, who obviously doesn't want to be seen, and they're basically patronizing him. They're not bigging him up for having a side hustle or being able to humble himself enough to scoop up some change the legal way. Now, I do have a problem, and I always had a problem with, especially Instagram. I think is the biggest instigator of this lifestyle. People love to make people feel worse about their lives through, whether it's Instagram or on Twitter. They just love to make people feel shitty about themselves. And I have a problem with that. For example, my buddy, he is a high-level executive at Procter & Gamble. I'm not sure how much money he makes, but he's a high-level executive at Procter & Gamble. He lives in a really nice neighborhood down here. He has about 4 or 5 Porsches. That's his thing. He loves Porsches, like brand new, old school. He drives them across country. He has a couple kids. He consults for people. But I remember talking to him not too long ago, and he was telling me how he wants to Uber. Now, in my mind, I'm just like, why the fuck would you want to Uber? Like you don't need to Uber. Like, not because I look down on Uber drivers. Well, what are you trying to do? It's because some people are able to look at Uber, look at a side hustle, look at cutting grass, look at becoming an electrician or developing a different a craft, and they're able to look at that as a vessel to get to where they need to be. Now, as a model, actor, person, I've delivered pizzas in a BMW. I worked for Pizza Hut for a weekend. I've had retail jobs. I worked at Miu Miu. I've worked at Nike. I have worked at Carolina Herrera. I worked at Cole Haan. I did these jobs not because I wanted to be a manager or a sales associate for the rest of my life, but because my other career just wasn't getting me to where I needed to be. Not that I wasn't making enough money, but it wasn't getting me to the point where I wanted to go. So I was using those positions as vessels, whether it was a vessel to get to that next bill in between jobs, or whether it was something to keep me busy and keep me off the streets, or I wanted to learn a new technology, or I just wanted to make some fucking extra money. So when I see people make fun of other people, whether it's Yung Joc or I forgot the gentleman's name from the Cosby Show, for having these jobs, people don't understand that artistry is a fickle business. Now, I don't know what kind of money he's bringing in from his TV shows. I don't know if he has control over his music. But at the end of the day, man, who are you to judge this person? Why are we judging this man for putting up a legal hustle when there's been so many examples of athletes and actors, white and black alike, who go out here and they try to maintain the lifestyle that they once had through illegal activities, whether it's stock market trading, illegal stock market insider information, or selling shady insurance practices, or selling drugs. You have these people who are trying to bridge that gap in between stardom, and they're trying to bring it back to reality, and they're trying to maintain a life. And Yung Joc is trying to do it the right way. And you have people clowning him for it. And that's not all right. That's not all right, because you're forgetting that this is a human being. And just like your mama or your uncle or whoever else is sitting around waiting for that next check to come, instead he decided to go out and get his somehow, some way. And I respect that. I respect that a lot much. And so even though I'm off Instagram for a little bit, we'll see how long that lasts. But it's stories and situations like that that make me feel sick and make me feel like I'm contributing to this toxicity. Now, maybe I just follow the wrong people, because I obviously don't follow the person who posted that about Yung Joc. But that information is out there and it's perpetuating. And if next week, if we see Yung Joc on TMZ and it's a mugshot of him because he robbed somebody, you got to check yourself and say, did I do that to that man? Did I run this person away from a hustle? Did I dissuade this black man from trying to do the right thing? I don't know, man. And I think that we need to take that approach. I forgot where I heard it. I might have heard it in like the Joe Rogan podcast or something. But it was a quote from this guy about, man, I post and I comment about other people as if that person is around the corner from me. Because if that person is around the corner from me, I am in danger of that person responding to my comment or my post. So next time you post, man, and you comment about a person or comment on a person's picture, comment as if that person can come around the corner and slap the shit out you. Well, the dishes are washed, the countertop is wiped down, and the dishwasher is loaded. I'm done with my dishes.